आजको हाम्रो टपिक छ तपाईको GLBP ल गेटवे लोड बैलेंसिंग प्रोटोकल यानी कि GLBP। यसका तपाईहरुले सक्सेसर फर्म मान्नु सक्नुहुन्छ तपाईको HSRP को ल, यानी कि यो पनि सिस्को प्रोप्राइटरी प्रोटोकल हो तपाईको हैन। त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि तपाईको यसलाई तपाईहरुले सक्सेसर फर्म मान्न सक्नुहुन्छ HSRP को। एउटा इम्प्रुभमेन्ट के भयो भने वास्तव GLBP मा रेडन्डेन्सी को इम्प्रुभमेन्ट भयो ल। रेडन्डेन्सी थिएन ल अगाडि। जस्तै उदाहरणको लागि HSRP ले दुईटै मात्रै राउटर सपोर्ट गर्थ्यो म्याक्सिमम भनेको हैन। अर्को भनेको HSRP मा लोड ब्यालेन्सिङ पनि थिएन, लोड शेयरिङ थियो हैन। तर GLBP ले त्यो कुरालाई रिमुभ गरेको छ। तर पनि तपाईको ध्यान दिनुपर्ने कुरा के भने GLBP सिस्को प्रोप्राइटरी प्रोटोकल हो ल। यसको मतलब यो हुन जान्छ यो सिस्को डिभाइसमा मात्रै हुन्छ, अरू डिभाइसमा हुँदैन र GLBP। हाम्रो HSRP मा हाम्रो तपाईको नाम हुन्थ्यो वास्तवमा एक्टिभ स्ट्यान्ड बाइ हुन्थ्यो। वास्तवमा प्राइमरीलाई एक्टिभ भन्थ्यो र ब्याकअपलाई स्ट्यान्ड बाइ भन्थ्यो। तपाईको DHARP मा मास्टर र तपाईको ब्याकअप हुन्थ्यो वास्तवमा हैन। यसमा चाहिँ तपाईको सम्पूर्ण राउटरहरुले वास्तवमा प्याकेट फरवार्डिङ गर्नु सक्छ यसमा हैन। त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि सबै राउटरलाई ABF भन्छ र तपाईको यसमा ABF यानी कि एक्टिभ भर्चुअल फरवार्डर। हालांकि यो जाँचमा चाहिँ आएको छैन र तपाईको यो एक्जाममा अहिले पनि CCI को एक्जाममा आएको छैन यो तपाईको। तपाईहरुले यसको बारेमा टेन्सन नलिँदै हुन्छ र तपाईको यो HSRP आएको छ ल तपाईको। ठीक है, HSRP आउँछ एक्जाममा आएको छ। अघिल्लो एक्जाममा आउँथ्यो हैन, यसमा पनि आएको छ र तपाईको। सबै राउटरलाई एक्चुअल भर्चुअल फरवार्डर भन्छ र तपाईको यो तपाईको एल्गोरिदममा अथवा यो GLBP। अर्को कुरा भनेको तपाईको राउटरहरुलाई तपाईको के भन्यो भने यसमा all router in the GLBP are actively forwarding packet. These router are called the active virtual forwarder, other AVF. However, there is still one router that must control the GLBP operations, and this router is called active virtual gateway. It's like the primary routers, primary devices, which is responsible to manage the other devices. Let's suppose to I have the ISP over here, and for redundant purpose, I'm going to add the 3 router over here to make the availability of the internet. First router, second router, and third router. Here, all the routers are responsible to forward the packet. Or, in other words, you can say all the routers in the GLBP are able to actively forwarding the packet. That means all routers are capable to forward the packet in a network, in a GLBP technology. And I'm going to add the all devices on my switch. This is my switch 1. And let me have the cable over here from the switch to router. And PC. PC, PC, 3 PC. So, by default, over here, all the routers are ABF. So, It's also called ABF, ABF, ABF. These are the PC or AND devices. This is ISP, my ISP site, Internet Service Providers, and I'm going to take the links from the three devices. You might have the multiple ISP too, but it depends on your topology. What type of topology you are going to implement on your organizations. But in my case, I'm just going to add the only one ISP. If you want, you can add the more ISP, no problem. If you want, you can add the multiple ISP too. Let me remove this one. To make the more visibility in the classroom or to make the more conceptual of your class, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the one more ISP over here, or two ISP over here. ISP 1, ISP 2, and ISP 3. You can do this way also. No problem. ISP 1, the first one is ISP 1. Second one is ISP 2. And third one is ISP 3. I have the three ISP over here. And all of it is called active ABF over here in the GLBP technology. But there is still, however, there is still one router that must control the other GLBP operation. And this router is called the ABJ. ABJ means Active Virtual Gateway. It is like the primary router. Another router is like a secondary router. Let me have the one of the router as the ABJ. ABJ. ABJ stands for Active Virtual Gateway. Active Virtual Gateway. This is my switch. The designing of the network or the designing of the infrastructure depend upon your requirement. But over here, for the demonstration purpose, just probing the lab, and for the demo purpose, I'm just going to put the one switch. But you may have the multiple switch inside of your network. Active Virtual Gateway is ABJ. It is responsible to control the GLBP operation in the networks. And ABJ is elected when the GLBP is activated on the networks, and it has the responsibility to decide the next ABF that will be used to provide the packet based on the selected algorithm. A router with the ABJ rules by default also act as a ABF at the same time. It means these routers, the first router, router number 1, act as a both types of the role. The first role is ABJ and second is the ABF. GLBP members, these three routers are called the GLBP members. All routers are. First router number 1, second is router number 2, and third one is router number 3. Three routers over here. All the routers are acting as an ABF, and the one router becomes the ABJ after the elections of the GLBP algorithm, a GLBP activation. And the ABJ is responsible to select the next ABJ if he goes down or he went down to the offline. GLBP members, these all the routers called GLBP members. GLBP members communicate between each other through the hello packet or hello message, and every 3 seconds to the multicast address 102. The same multicast address 224.0.0.0.0.102. It is the multicast packet, multicast IP address of the GLBP. And they use the port number UDP 3222. UDP 222 र C222. आई होप कसैलाई केही प्रब्लम छैन यतिसम्म। अर्को नेक्स्ट कुरा भनेको तपाईको हामीले के ध्यान दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ भने तपाईको सबै राउटरहरू तपाईको ABF पनि हुन्छ, सबै राउटरहरू ABJ पनि हुन्छ ल। अब let's explain about the ABJ first. ABJ routers are the router is a member of the GLBP group that elect the one gateway to be the active virtual forwarding or actual virtual gateway for that groups and GLBP members. And author group provide the backup for ABJ in the event that the ABJ become unavailable or goes to offline. The ABJ assign the virtual MAC address to the each member to the GLBP groups. Over here, every gateway assumes the responsibility for forwarding the packet toward the ISP for the internal devices or end devices. So here, forwarding packet sent to the virtual MAC address assigned to by the ABJ. Over here, ABJ is responsible to assign the MAC address to the all of the routers. These gateway are known as a ABF, and ABF is also member of the GLBP. The ABJ is responsible for the answering and for the replying the all the address using protocol ARP request for the virtual IP address for the ABF other ABF router. Load sharing is achieved by the ABJ replying of the ARP request with the different virtual MAC. For example, if the router 1 is a ABJ for the GLBP group and is responsible for the virtual IP address or ... or any IP address, okay, ... And router 1 is also an ABF for the virtual MAC address generated by the GLBP. Okay. So here, whenever the client comes to the ABF or GLBP routers, then they try to go outside of the internet, and that times ABJ receive the packet and forward toward the ISP. So hereafter, all the router become the ABF, and one router becomes the ABJ. ABJ responsible to control all of the ABF. And one more important thing for the GLBP is GLBP can be used for the load balancing also. I have already discussed about the load balancing. Load balancing is the technique of networking which allow to share the path or share the you can say it is like sharing the path for the multiple line. Suppose to your end devices, one end devices can be sent through the R1 and another send can be through the R2 and R3 that way. There is a three type of the load balancing can support by the GLBP. As we know, we have already discussed about the load balancing technique in a class. The first type of load balancing is called the round robin. Okay, round robin is a type of the load balancing which is to automatically select the best path from the multiple path. Let's suppose to my PC wants to create the communication with the any service to the external network. Then PC1 goes to the router 1, and automatically PC2 goes to the from router 2, and automatically router second PC which goes to the from the router 3. It's called the load balancing, round robin. There is a three type of the algorithm in the Cisco iOS used for the load balancing. The first type of the load balancing is called round robin. Second type is a weighted, or third type is the host independent. Let me note down over here. There is a pin. I'm going to pinpoint these are all the load balancing algorithms over here in my whiteboard. Load balancing algorithm. Number one, the first type of load balancing is called round robin. Round robin is a type of load balancing. It's a default achieved by the Cisco router. Second is a weighted. And third one is a host dependent. These are the load balancing algorithm supported by the Cisco iOS. Okay, without the wasting the time, I'm going to set up my topology for the today's class and going to demonstrate that these all of the theory. So let me have the EV, and today I'm going to use the routers. 4 routers. Router number 1 is going to be my first router. Router number 2 and router number 3 is enough for me, and router number 4 is the ISP routers. And let me have the serial link. Okay, I think I did mistake. I have to choose the serial link before the putting down the router on my lab. I will let me have the serial link. I will serial link number 1 serial link, and number 2 I will number 3 routers I will. Fine. Router number 1, first routers, router number 2 and 3, and number 4 is going to be my ISP routers. Let me have the serial link for today. S01, S1/0, and again S1/0, S1/1, because S1/0 is already occupied by the router number 1. Okay, fine. And for good practice, you can use the actual internet, but it's not mandatory. Okay. For practice purpose, you can use, but it's not mandatory. You can put the one loopback address on your routers and check the as an internet. And I need to have the one switch. IOL layer 2 switches, and serial port. I don't need to have serial port. I don't need, and pictures. Switch to a switch. I think it's enough. 4 port is enough for the testing purpose. Let me add the one more interface. Two means one Ethernet port group allow the 4 port, and 2 means you will have the 8 port on this switch. Switch number 1, pass Ethernet, again pass Ethernet, again pass Ethernet. ABJ, sorry, ABF, and ABF. 3 routers ABF. This is acting as like ISP over here. Let me have the one of the pictures or one of the simulation of the ISP pictures. I think it is this one, circular. This one is my ISP, first ISP, and this is my second ISP. And IP address over here is a 192.1.12.0/24 20 and bold. Any color you can choose, no problem. It depends upon your choices. 12, 23, and 24. This is my internal subnet. 24. I need to have the at least 3 router for testing purpose. This is my client. 1 and 2 and 3. Then the 1 is let me have the 101, 102, 103. This is supposed to my host or internal network, internal devices. They are my client computers. Router number 6, 7, 8. And here I have the network, internal network. It is belong from the 192.168.30.0/24. This is my routers, and router is 30.1. Okay, this is my gateway. This is external gateway. So you can put the switch also instead of the router 1, router 3, but today I'm going to put the routers for the good practice or for the different type of the practice. We have already done on the switches, so no need to put the switch. If you want to put the switch, then no problem. You can use the switch also. So let me have the IP address on all the devices, respective devices. Before they assign the IP address, I'm going to create the one of the VLAN, any VLAN ID. Okay, it's a VLAN 12, for example. VLAN 12 and IP range is this. Host name switch number 1, VLAN 12, name sales, or any name you can put. The name is not mandatory for the VLAN. And the first range E0/0 to E0/0, E0/1, E0/2, E0/3, 3 up to 3, and comma E0/E1/0 to E1/0, E1/1 up to 1. Switch port mode access, switch port access, and VLAN 12. You don't need to create the VLAN and assign all the port under the one VLAN. If you want to do practice and you want to demonstrate this lab without the VLAN, creating the VLAN, then it's okay, no problem. By default, switch exists, DOS exists, VLAN 1, and all the devices can communicate each other, no problem. But in my case, for today, I'm going to just creating the VLAN and assign the all port under the one single VLAN. This is a VLAN 12. And then let me have the IP address on all the devices. It's edge devices site, config terminal, and interface S1/0, no shutdown, IP address 192.1.12.1, or you can put the 2, no problem. IP root to pointing the ISP 0000 and 019.1.12.1 is for R1. R1, R2, R3, and ISP router R6, R7, and router number 8. Router number 1, paste it on router number 1. For internal network, F0/E0/0, no shutdown, IP address 10.1.1.1, 255.255.255.0, no shutdown, and writing. So IP interface BR. I'm able to assign the IP address on my router number 1. Need to add the one more command, one more IP address is E0/0 on all the devices. IP address 10.1.1.2, 255.255.255.0, and do write 23.2 23.1. So, okay, no problem. 23.1. Okay. And let me have the access of router number 2. This is router number 2. Router number 2, and copy it from the notepad and paste it on the router number 2. So, okay. Router number 3, 23, 24, 24.2, and 24.1, and 1112 is 113. Router number 3. Host router number 3 and copy it, paste it on router number 3. Now let me set up the router number 4. This router number 4 is my ISP routers. So how may I set up? Enable configure terminal, host name, router number 4, global ISP. Minus ISP. Interface E0/0, do so IP interface BR. I hope DHCP already provided the IP address for the E0/0. It's already provided. You can make this IP address static, okay? No problem. Interface E0/0, IP address 192.168.30.63.163 and 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. I have to make I have to point the default routing toward my actual ISP IP route 0.0.0.0, 192.168.30.1. Let me check the default gateway over here. Yeah, default gateway is showing now. Let me ping 1.1.1. I'm able to ping www.facebook.com. I'm not able to ping, I think. Able to ping, but no problem. It is better to better to assign the DNS server, okay? 8.8.8. Right, no problem. I think just showing the duplex mixed message. To remove this message, you have to make the full duplex mode on this site. Duplex full and right. And another interface S1/0, no shutdown, IP address 192.1.12.1. As I know, I can remember I have already assigned the 192.1.12.2 on router site, router number 1. So I have to assign the 12.1 on the ISP site. No shutdown. Interface S1/1, no shutdown. 23.1. Interface S1/2, no shutdown, and 33, 24.1, no shutdown. So IP interface BR. It's okay. Now one more thing. Still, I'm not able to access the internet from the R1 to actual internet because of the my 30.1 router doesn't have the uh, my router's information or my network information, so I have to NAT on the router number 4. Access list 1112 permit IP, okay, and source any. It is not recommended to put the source any in actual production environment, but the demonstration purpose or practical purpose, just practice purpose, you can do that any no problem. And for kind information, I've already covered the ECL, so you can understand the way I did the any on the last keyword on last slide. And IP NAT inside interface E0/0 IP NAT outside. My IP address would be the chain on the E0/0 side, and S1/0, S1/1, S1/2 is an internal network. So I have to do the inside for the all other interface or S1/0, S1/1, S1/2. It will take the time sometimes to enable the NAT interface on the routers. Interface range S1 interface S1/0 IP NAT inside. Same inside. Do right. Do so IP interface via they are inside. You can check and do so interface S1/0 do so running inside outside. Now I should able to reach to internet from the R1, R2, R3. How to? This way. I forgot to configure the NAT over here. I put it inside source list 1112 interface E0/0 overload. Right. And then after ping. By default, out understand only IP address, no name understand. So for better practice, propose just configure the DNS server, DNS client on your all routers. If you want to achieve the reachability by the name, now I'm reachable. Router number 2, three, unreachable. And I have configured all of the devices and the specific routers and specific port to the IP address. The IP address is uh, IP address is already just configured my all devices R1, R2, R3, and R4, and it is reachable from the R1, R2, R3 to internet. So now next step is what? Next step we can configure the GLBP, and the command are duplicate is going to be duplicate. So you have to use the notepad over here. On router number 1, let me have the command interface E0/0 GLBP. Any group member 12 IP address 10.1.1.1 254. It is a common gateway IP address. GLBP 12 priority 120 and GLBP 12 trimmed and GLBP. If you want to change the timers, then you can change the timers. 1 second is allow and 5 is hold. If you want to allow the authentication, then you can put the authentication MD5 key string Cisco@123. GLBP 12 IP address is my command gateway is 254. GLBP 12 priority 120. Permissions on. Timers just changed. Authentication Cisco@123 applied. On other side, router number 2 side, same copy it and paste it on the router number 2. For router number 2, let me change the priority. It's a 1110 or 1118. It means it's going to be ABJ. And router number 3, do same thing, no problem. But only change the priority over here. Router number 3, priority should be the 1110. 1110 is router number 3, 1118 is router number 2, and 120 is router number 1. The only differences over here is the priority, and other remaining are all are the same. It means it is going to be the ABJ and as well as ABR. Let me have this command under my routers. Router number 1, do show GLBP. I don't think it has already configured the GLBP, so paste it and do write show GLBP. Now it is a GLBP is enabled over here. Ethernet is group 12. State is active. One state change. Last change is 000. Hello 1. Hold 5. Next is next timer is on 000.448. Result timer 600 seconds. Authentication MD5 I have already applied. Permission is enabled. Active is local. Standby is unknown because of we have not configured the standby yet. Priority 120. Waiting is 100. Default is 100. Threshold lower is 1. Upper 100. Load balancing is by default. Router selected. The round robin type of load balancing. Round robin weighted and host independent. The round robin default load balancing algorithm for the Cisco iOS. Group member. This is the MAC address generated by the GLBP groups, GLBP routers. There is a one forwarder, 0 active, forwarder is 1, and he is listening. Okay, let's go on the router number 2. And again, copy the command from the notepad and paste it on the router number 2. Successfully pasted on the router number 2. And again, go on router number, copy the router number 3 configuration, paste it on router number 3. Router number 1 is active. Router number 2 is again active, is the listening state. Router number 3 is listening state. You can check out the state of the routers by the command to glbp brief. Listening, okay, all are listening mode, listening. But my one router is a active router over here, and other is going to other is in listening mode. Active router is 1, active router is 1, 1, 1. And this is my 2 is going to be listening mode. So let me check from the client side to achieve the connectivity from the router number 6 to using the GLBP to outside of the internet. So how may I achieve? First, I have to put the command gateway on the router number 6. Host name R6. I need to use the notepad to get the faster configuration of IP address. It's the 10.1.1.101. 101, and IP address should be the gateway should be the 10.1.1.1.1. The virtual gateway IP address is what? 254. And E0/0. E0/0 and do right. Same on the router number 7. On 7, what is the IP address over here? 7 is 102, and all of them are same. 7. And next one is what? Router number 8. 8 is what is the IP address of the 8? 8 means 103. And the default gateway must be the same. It is a virtual gateway IP address. I have already assigned on the GLBP groups. Copy it, paste it on router number 8. Why is the 8? 8, 8, 8, 8. I think this is the 8. Configure terminal, host name, router number 8, and paste it. Okay, let me have the reachability from the all of the routers. First is router number 7. This is 7, and second is 6. I need to access the 3 router, all the routers for the testing purpose. And 8, where is the 8? 8 is this one is the 8 router. Router number 8. Okay, let's test from here. Ping 1.1.1. I have to static routing for this information. Okay, these routers. There's a no gateway on the no routing information, no IP information on the router node port. So do the static routing from the R4. IP route 10.1.1.0 to 55.255.255.0, 192.112.2, and 23.2 and 24.2 is okay. Now they should able to go out internet. R6, it is R6. I'm reachable over here. On R7, I'm reachable. On R8, here also I'm reachable. So reachability is okay, no problem for reachability. But over here, we have to check out the actual path. It's actually which path is following by the which devices. In case of the router number 6, first let me go on the 6 and 7 and 8 finally. First client, and the 6, let me have the trace route. Trace. This is tracing to the 1.1. 7. On 8, do same thing on 8. Seven is following by the tender 1.1.2. 7 is going to use the tender 1.2, is using the tender 1.2, and third one is using the tender 1.3. It's called the round robin load balancing. So default, they are following the different path to reach the destination. मेरो यसले 1 फलो गर्यो, यसले 2 फलो गर्यो, यसले 3 फलो गर्यो र डिफरेन्ट पाथ फलो गर्यो। बाइ डिफल्ट यसरी तपाईको राउन्ड रोबिन लोड ब्यालेन्सिङ हुन्छ GLBP मा। Let's go to the router number 1 to verify my GLBP. So GLBP brief. Here I am the 120 router. 120 means priority. I have the 120 group ID 12, and it's a forwarder routers. Forward router is 120. It's active routers, and this is my IP address. This is my local router, and my standby router is one tender 1.1.2. In case in the future, if I goes on down, or if I'm not available, then tender 1.2 will be the take the charges of the tender 1.1 or router number 1. So it's called the GLBP. To configure the other type, the load balancing over here, you have to do the special thing, or you can track these devices also, no problem. It's a round robin load balancing. To configure the other type of the load balancing, for example, you want to allow the GLBP weighted load balancing. Okay. Weighted is the next type of the algorithm of load balancing. Weighted algorithm distribute the traffic to each ABA based on the weight value. Weight means the loading of the client computer or client devices. Weighted value assigned to them. Okay. So an ABA with the bigger weight value will get the more traffic redirected to the destinations. For example, if we assign the weight value for the R1 as only 1, then R1 able to forward the only one devices at a time. For R2, if I'm going to put the load balancing value 2, then R2 able to allow the forwarding the traffic twice at a time. On R3, if I put the value 10, then R3 able to forwarding the 10 client computer at a time, okay, to the destinations. So it is called the weighted load balancing. Weighted load balancing is a type of the load balancing. It depends on the administrators, what type of the load balancing you want to allow. But by default, Cisco iOS follow by default is a round robin type of the load balancing. So let me change the different type of load balancing algorithm on my GLBP groups. My type is I'm going to assign the weighted. Weighted is a algorithm that distributes the traffic to each others. It's on the basis on what weight value you assign to them. In my case, I'm going to assign the value for R1 weighted, GLBP weighted. Value for R1 for R1, I'm going to assign the value 1 for R1. It means the R1 able to load only one device at a time. R2, I'm going to put the value 2 for the R2. And for R3, I'm going to put the value of what? Any 3. Or 1, 1, 3, or 2. This way. It means if all the GLBP router are active or they are reachable, then router 1 send the one traffic toward the destination, router 2 send the same way to one traffic or one machine's connectivity. Router 3 will send the 2 machine at a time. Okay, let me configure. On router number 1, interface E0/0 GLBP 12 is my group ID. I have assigned load balance, load balancing, weighted. GLBP 12 weight number 1. This means one client computer, one device is allowed by the router number 1 at a time. Same, copy it, paste for the router number 2 and 3. Same to same 1. On router number 3, 2. Or for good practice, you can do the router number 1 have the great bandwidth. So you can put the 2, and router number 1 is the least bandwidth. You can put the 1, and router number 3 also great bandwidth. So you can put the 2. No problem this way. Or you can put the as your requirement, as your wish. No problem. You can put the weight as per your requirement. In my case, I have the great bandwidth or much bandwidth on router number 1, so I put the weight 2. That means 2 hosts able to go on the router number 1 by the router number 1 at a time, and on router number 2 is the least bandwidth. So I'm going to use the only one host for the router number 2. Router number 3 is also great bandwidth. The router number 3 has a more best bandwidth, more great bandwidth. So you can put the 10 also, no problem. Or 5 also, no problem. 5 device. You can put the actual requirement. Router number 1, go on router number 1 and put the command over here. Router number 2, same, copy it, paste it in router number 2. Router number 3, same, copy it, the paste is. One more important thing over here, guys. Here, all the connectivity are going to be used. There is no backup link. There is no useless link. All the links I'm going to occupy and I'm going to use for my infrastructure. Even router number 1 link, router number 2 link, router number 3 links, all the links are going to be used over here. Okay, let me test from the router number 6. It should be from the router number 1. It's 1 router number 2 पनि वास्तवमा 10 र 1 र 1 बाट जानु पर्छ. 2 होइन ल, no 2. Router number 7. Because of I have set the 2 hosts should be allowed by the router number 1. How I did achieve these things? I did achieve these things from the using the weighted load balancing. 7, 8, it is going from the R2, it's going from the R3, okay? Due to the one of the type of the one of the issue of the Cisco iOS is called the cache problem. Okay, the EBE. To achieve the final result, there is a two solution to counter this issue. The first is what you can shut down all the router number 1, router number 2, router number 3 devices once and get up, or do clear. Okay, try to do clear IP route, because already the path is chosen by the R1, so they are choosing the same path, and do again and go to the R7, clear IP route, and again send to the traffic toward ISP. Clear IP route, or what you can do, you can shut down the R1, R2, R3, and again shut up. Okay, R1, right, R2, right, R3, right. The cache is already written. Okay, they use the same multicast group, so they are following the old one, old traffic path. Stop, stop, stop. All the device went down. Start, start, start. Same and 6, 7, 8. You can stop. You can stop. You can stop. You can stop this one also. No problem. And start. But you won't see this problem in the real switch, okay? Real devices. There is one more type of this solution, okay? The solution is ARP clearance. ARP clear. You can clear the cache. Let me clear the cache on R6. Let me have the clear R6, R7, R6, R7. Just have the router number 6. So ARP, there is already one ARP table. The table is a local IP address table, no problem with this. And trace route 8.8.8, and go to the router number 7. I have to get the console first. Router number 6 is this one. 7. Trace route 8.8.8. It should be goes to the router number 1, because I have said that 2 waited for the router number 1, and R8. They are following the same. Okay, fine. We have achieved successfully. Okay. Router number 6 is following the 10-1 path. It means router number 1. And again, the router number 7 is following the same path. Okay, that is a two devices is going to by the router number 1. That means we have successfully achieved the weighted load balancing over here. Is a 2. 2 means the value 2 means two devices allowed to go from the router number 1. First, two devices handled by the router number 1. And again, if three devices comes to go to the destinations or outside the internet, the next router number 2 or router number 3 will receive the connectivity for the internal client. So it is called the weighted load balancing. Okay, and same way you can apply the IPSLE. You can apply the interface tracking, other type of tracking, using the same type of the same syntax, whatever we have done in the SRP and GLBP, no problem. But over here, the conclusion is, the important thing is you have to understand all guys. So we are achieving the different type of the path, different type of the destination by using the different ISP. We are not going to waste any links for the backup purpose. Okay, all the links are going to use the actively at a time for the my internal network for internal client computers. The last thing is host independent. How to perform the host independent load balancing? This is another type of the algorithms of the load balancing. It's called the host dependent. Host dependent algorithm guarantees that the same gateway will always to be used for the specific client. It means a specific client guarantees that the same gateway will always be used for the specific client as long as there is no changes on the ABF number. Under some situation, this approach could be the useful or best option. Okay, like if you want to allow the router number 6 and 7 from the R1 always, then you can use the host dependent type of the load balancing. The command is very, very simple. It is just give the command GLBP and under the interface GLBP ID is 12 and load balancing host dependent. Simple command you can achieve this way. Same on router number 1. Interface E0/0 and GLBP 12 load balancing host dependent. This command. This is the command you have to use on all devices. But applying to this algorithm, you have to remove this one. Okay, remove this one first to achieve the correct and clear algorithm output. Let me check now what algorithm is using by the routers. So GLBP, actually right now we are using the weighted algorithm for our ABG, GLBP ABG. Router 2 also use the same type of algorithm. Router 2 so GLBP, this one weighted. Router number 3 GLBP weighted. Just copy it, paste it on all devices. It will guarantee to a specific client to follow the specific path. But this type of the algorithm is not in use in industries like other type of the load balancing. Round robin is a must use type of the load balancing, and second one is a weighted. And this one is a, in some situation you can use, but normally this type of the load balancing doesn't used by the industries. I think I did mistake on command GLBP, well, load balancing, host dependent. This command GLBP host dependent. I forgot to put the hyphen between the host and dependent. Okay, host dependent. I think so. R2 and R3. Let me check now. Host dependent. On R2, host dependent. On R1, host dependent. Before the testing the output, just do clear the ARP cache on the switch one, R6, R7, R8, even R1, R2, R3. Okay, but I'm just going to clear the ARP cache on router R6, R7, and R8. Clear ARP, clear ARP, clear ARP. But one time clear ARP is enough. Okay, no need to put the many times clear ARP. Clear ARP. Only single killer ARP is enough. I'm just doing the killer ARP so many times because of uh, he is not working actually properly. So no problem. Trace route is following the 111 tender 101. Trace route following the tender 102. Trace route following the tender 103. Now this R6 devices always follow the router number 1. Okay, if router number 1 is online. If router number 1 is not online, that is offline or went down, then next type of the queries goes to the GLBP groups. But if the router number 1 is online, then router number 6 follow the following by this path. Okay, always. अर्को एल्गोरिदममा चाहिँ अर्को ठाउँमा पनि जानु सक्छ तर यसमा जाँदैन होला सुरुमा जुनमा गर्नुपर्छ त्यसैमा जान्छ हमेशा This is called host dependent. This also follow this path always. This also. If any questions, if any doubt regarding the GLBP and regarding this question, then you can ask with me. The tracking interface is the same, like other type of the HSRP, other type of the gateway load balancing, but you can track the no problem. Okay, if you want to track, you can track. Today we have the serial interface, so we can track the easily by interface also. It will give you the very good output result if you have the serial interface. Let me go on router number 1. Let me track the default gateway. Let me check the default gateway first. Do show IP route. I have the default gateway now. To track the default gateway, track 1, IP route. It means if the 00 is exists on my routing table, then I am the reachable. Interface gig E0/0. GLBP 12 same ल जस्तो सेम हो त्यसपछिबाट वेटिङ ट्र्याक कति 1 and decrement what 50 for example भनेपछि यो मेरो भयो तपाईको ट्र्याकिङ भयो this is my tracking if this tracking is erased from my routing table then automatically this router number 1 declare the internet is went down ल मान्नु म त्यो R7 मा जान्छु let me go on R7 to make the shutdown the my interface R7 no it's R4 so I without its routing table it does exist so track is right now is reachable now and R4 go to the ISP interface S0/1 S1/0 make shutdown it then default gateway will be erased from the router number 1 it's a down and R4 inform to the router number 1 as a interface is going to be went down then R1 erase the default gateway from the routing table S0/0 S1/0 I did shut down S1/0 yes and check it is a reachability off now R4 inform me the interface went down then my reachability is went down how the reachability went down because of there is no default gateway right now no gateway over here right now now I have the priority I have set the priority 120 I think 118 okay on router number 2 so router number 2 take the charge of ABJ router okay ABJ router in the GLBP group router number 2 go to router number 2 and check out do show GLBP BR router number 2 is router number 2 is local now it is a ABJ and 3 is in listening mode यसरी नै SLB यसरी हाल्नु सक्नुहुन्छ अरु मेसिन हाल्नु सक्नुहुन्छ GLBP ले एडभान्स तिर यसमा मैले एउटा क्लासमा गर्थे ताकि तपाईले लोड ब्यालेन्सिङ बुझ्नुहुन्छ भविष्यमा F5 लोड ब्यालेन्सिङ पनि बुझ्नुहुन्छ ल F5 मा तपाईले गर्नु भएको छ भने F5 गर्नुहुन्छ अनि फ्युचरमा कसैलाई के डाउट्स छ सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ if you any doubt any questions shoot अरुण जी केही डाउट छ सोध्दाखेरि हुन्छ ल I think कसैलाई केही डाउट छैन जस्तो लाग्यो ल मलाई